Adventures of the Decepticons Pet Ghost by Played Crowd 5610. Part 3 of Hunting the Nemesis. Chapter 7. The Nemesis Chase. Summary. Danny books it through the Nemesis with an angry knockout on his heels. Danny darted down the long metallic hallway of the Nemesis, his sneakers barely touching the ground as the sound of angry stomping echoed quickly from behind. "Get back here, you pest!" Knockout's voice called out from behind him, filled with fury. Danny glanced over his shoulders, laughing to himself, as the fuming Knockout pursued him. Knockout had been boasting about himself again, and how much more sophisticated Cybertronians were than organics. After one too many sly comments, he decided to throw one of the tools on the desk he was sitting on at the com. And maybe he had thrown it with a little too much enthusiasm. "Aw, come on, Knockouts! It's just a scratch!" Danny called back, smirking to himself, as he turned a sharp corner. He could have easily just turned invisible or even just phased out of the floor, but where was the fun in that? Just ahead, Breakdown was walking down the hallway, looking over a datapad and muttering to himself. His optic shot up when he heard the commotion as Danny grinned and zipped by him. "Hi, Breakdown! Bye, Breakdown!" Danny waved as he ran. Breakdown blinked as Danny speed past, followed moments later by a livid knockout. The wreck mech skidded to a halt in front of Breakdown, who raised an optic ridge at him. "Why didn't you grab him?" Knockout drew his service in the general direction where Danny took off. Breakdown shrugged and tilted his helmet to the side. "Why are you trying to kill Danny?" he asked. Knockout lifted up one of the doors that were attached to his forearm, showing off a fancy new mark that trailed across it. "He scratched my paint!" Knockout sighed exasperatedly. "Right. That's a perfectly good reason to chase a human down. Knockout, I can buff it out when I'm done with this." He raised his datapad, which was small in his large service. "There's no need to kill him." Knockout shot him a glare. "You will never understand the importance of keeping a finish pristine." He took off running again, shouting after Danny, "You're going to pay for this, scratch maggot!" Danny, now several corridors away, zigzagged down another hall, laughing between breaths. He recognized the control center and ran in without a second thought. The door opened for him instantly. Soundwave had programmed in his biosignature to open the door for him when he walked up to them, because he couldn't reach the door panel with his tiny human limbs. Speaking of Soundwave, he spotted a familiar tall, thin figure standing at the control panel. Danny skidded to a stop, nearly crashing into him. "Hey, Soundwave!" The mech turned his helmet towards the human. Where's Starscream?" Soundwave, without saying a word, pointed a long, silent digit down the next hallway. "Thanks!" Danny flashed a grin and bolted, but not before waving behind him to the mech. Not a second later, Knockout stormed in, Wentz running overtime. "Where did he go?" he demanded, leaning up against the doorframe for a moment's rest. Soundwave visors remained blank, and he went back to his console as if nothing had happened. Knockout growled and thrown his servers up in defeat. Why is everyone so unhelpful today?" Meanwhile, Danny rounded the corner and nearly crashed into Starscream. The mech was distracted with a datapad and stepped back when Danny tripped in front of him. Danny righted himself, dusting himself off, and without missing a beat, he grinned up at the seeker. "Hey, Screamy, how about a flight?" Starscream narrowed his optics suspiciously, opening his intake to process, when he suddenly noticed Knockout barreling towards them, pure irritation on his face. Starscream let out an exasperated groan, dragging his service down his faceplate. "What have you done this time?" "No time to explain," Danny said quickly, hopping in place as Knockout drew closer. Starscream sighed dramatically, but grabbed Danny in one smooth motion, transforming mid-action and launching into the air. Soaring through the hallways of the Nemesis, Knockout skidded to a halt just as they flew out of reach for the mech. "I'm going to get him one of these days," Knockout muttered, stomping away. Once he turned the corner, he wanted to break down again, and, without a second thought, he grabbed the larger mech by the transforming seam under his neck into his chest plate and pulled him along behind him. Breakout made a sound of surprise, but decided just to follow his partner anyway. Soundwave closed out the security camera he had opened on the monitor that he was using to watch the whole ordeal, and continued his work, a very light hint of amusement reflected in his EM field.